I can edit that later.
When people are released from jail, they have the responsibility to appear in court. But some of these people choose to go on the run.
They go back home to mommy.
And that is when these guys come into the picture. So sit back and listen to the Off the Hook podcast with Chad and Rob.
Very fine people on both sides.
These are real stories, but the names have been changed.
What's going on, guys? This is episode number 1 of Off the Hook podcast. And I'm Rob.
I'm Chad.
Hey.
Hey, everybody. So, we are new to this.
Very new. This is our very first one. And
we're going to figure it out. We're going to tell some stories and talk about some things going on. And hopefully you guys will learn something and like what we're saying. So stick around.
Yeah, we got some good stories coming up, and we got a bunch of episodes already written.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have some special guests throughout this. We do have a YouTube channel, so you can watch this live, or we're recordings, and we'll download them so you can watch them online and see us. But as of now, we're gonna go ahead and get into it.
Okay, so I figure with the first one, I'll kind of introduce. I'm Chad once again. I have been in the bail bonding, PI, bounty hunting, whatever you want to roll all that together and say, since about 1997. Yeah, old dude coming at you. Anyway, I came down to Wilmington, North Carolina several years ago. Went to college here. Like every college student, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do when I grew up. And I was working out at a gym, and I had 2 ladies come in and talk to me about helping them do fugitive recovery with them, because let's face it, when 2 girls come to the door to get some big dude, it don't carry a lot of weight. So
not saying anything bad about it.
It's not. It is what it is.
It is
right?
what it is.
So I was like, all right, I'm trying to figure it out. I've done about every other job. Why not try this? Learned it from them. They kind of fell apart, self-imploded, I guess. And from there, I met a gentleman up in Raleigh, North Carolina, named Mr. David Beasley. He's a legend in the state.
I think everybody knows him in the state.
In the state, they do. He is the godfather of bail. Got under his wing, became an agent for him here in Wilmington, North Carolina, and really started to get my foot in the door, learning how it went. And that kind of, after a couple of years, there were some issues. We're still great friends, just he had some other life issues going on. And so I decided I was going to make a go on my own. Got the name Off the Hook, and I started working out of my home, doing bail. And the purpose of bail, for those of you that are wanting to really know why we have it, it's a big topic in politics. It guarantees the performance of a person to appear in court.
Now, this is what the episode 1's all about.
Yeah, so we're going to get into that in more detail, but I'm just letting you know kind of what it's about. I wanted to know too. I went to school for marine biology, so here I am chasing criminals. But I started doing that on my own for a while. It's hard to do by yourself. There's a lot of things that go into what we do. So it was when I teamed up with a friend of mine who left a sheriff's department, and he was a private investigator, is what he wanted to do. He didn't think much of bondsmen. I wasn't big into PI type of work, but we decided to team up. We both got each other's licenses under us too. So now I'm a PI and a bail agent, and he's a PI and bail agent, and that opens some more doors. Each one's able to do some things that the other can't, but they both help each other. So then we started to get a little bit of traction. We opened a little office next to an attorney here, and we grew a little bit. And then one day, I had this dude come in the office to check our fire hydrant, or excuse me, our fire extinguisher.
I was doing a fire inspection.
So that's when Mr. Robert here came popping in the door, and so let them tell it.
Well, my story goes, it's wild. Well, first, I've been down, I'm from a little town called Wilson, North Carolina. And if anybody knows where that's at, there's not much there. So as soon as I graduated high school, I come down here. Now, I was a fireman for a long time. And after doing that for a few years, I went to the private sector, did private fire inspections for many years. I moved away, come back. And when I came back, I was getting burnt out on the whole fire inspection thing. It was same story every day. And I walked into Chad's office here one day doing an inspection. And, you know, my stepfather started a bail bonding company back home with a friend of his. So I knew about it. I knew what it took to do it, but I never wanted to get into it. But I walked into Chad's office doing an inspection, and he was talking to me about, you know, have you ever thought about being a bondsman? I'm like, I don't know, man. You know, I saw my stepdad do it. I'm not 100% sure. He goes, well, when you're ready, come back and see me. I'm like, all right, cool. A year goes by, literally almost a year to the day goes by, and the company I was working for went through like 2 corporate buyouts. And I got tired of corporate America, and something in the back of my head dinged that, hey, Chad here wanted to hook me up. So I walked into his office one day and I said, hey, I got laid off after the 3rd company buyout, and I'm ready to do this. So I borrowed some money. I'm also, you know, single father. Borrowed some money, went up, took the class, dug in my heels. I was working side jobs, you know, and extra jobs here in town. Dug my heels in, and it just went from there. That just goes to show you, when you have a good partnership with somebody who's got their mindset in the right spot, you can do a lot. And that's pretty much from there, we just soared. And once I started figuring out the bail bonding industry and working on it, I remember one day I said, Chad, I think I want to do some pickups or bounty hunting, fugitive recovery in North Carolina. But I think I want to do some hunting. He looked at me and said, you sure about that? Because you're going to be gone a lot. I said, yeah. I said, I think I'm going to do it. He said, all right. Well, he said, I'll back you. Just let you know it's a lot of work. I said, okay. And from there, man, we have had so many stories and so many captures. We can't even remember them all hardly. So, and this is the reason why we're doing the podcast.
We're doing the podcast.
So we can tell stories, give you guys some entertainment and some education.
And these are all real stories. You know, obviously we had to change the names, but, you know, these are really, you know, pretty much how it went down. And we're going to tell you guys how it went. I mean, it you know, you see Dog the Bounty Hunter, and, you know, you've heard of that guy.
I think you see him up here.
Yeah, we've met him a couple times. But it's real. what you do. It's dangerous. It
hurts.
It can hurt. But it's very rewarding once you catch a person.
But I'm telling you, when I say it hurts, I ain't gonna lie to you. Well, it's a story for another episode. But my ankle, I think it got about that big around when we were fighting. Me and Chad were fighting somebody afterwards, and that was a horrible ride home.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's how we got into the job, and all these stories we want to tell you. Enjoy them. So, Chad, tell everybody where we're located.
We are in the city of Wilmington, North Carolina. We are on the East Coast. We're about an hour so north of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Beautiful, though.
Yeah, we're right on the coast. A lot of people coming here. Don't get any ideas, people that.
Yeah, don't move here, please. Whatever you're doing.
We're full.
We're full. Stay away.
Yeah. But it's an interesting place. It's a fun place. So we called it home for quite a while.
So, and the education part that we're trying to do with this whole podcast is all these questions that we're going to be answering for you guys. We believe it's what it takes to be a good bondsman. So, Chad, what's your?
Well, for one, bondsmen get a stereotype. I've said this over the years. I mean, we're looked at as a thug, basically. The truth of the matter is, in North Carolina, that the judge sets the dollar amount. We're not responsible for that. That's a judge or a magistrate. They set the dollar amount on a person. And it has to do with a risk assessment. Now, it would be nice if we didn't have a need for bondsmen and judges could just look into their crystal ball and say, oh, this person will show up for court. Well, unfortunately, it's not like that.
And the world's not full of rainbows. And
unicorns. People will lie. People will, they're not going to come back. Some of them already got it in their mind. And some of these court cases go on for 2-3 years. I mean, we're on bonds for 3 years, meaning at any time they don't go to court in that period of time, we get a notice in the mail, forfeiture, failure to appear, and a big dollar amount attached to it. We have a chart on the wall.
I remember my first one.
Oh, yeah.
My heart dropped.
Oh, yeah. You get that letter in the mail, man, and it's a big, scary orange piece of paper, and it's got thousands of dollars attached to it. And what that means is after 150 days in North Carolina, if you can't, there's certain things that we can have it set aside for, but that's it. I think we have 7 or 8 rules. And if you can't make it work with any of those, the school board attorney who wants our money, And in North Carolina, so if we cannot do it within 150 days, we have to pay the full amount of that bond. So let's say a $10,000 bond. We can charge up to 15% in North Carolina. Well, yeah, $1,500. Part of that goes to an insurance company. That's who we get the money to write all these bonds. So that whittles us down to about $1,200-ish.
And then it's split up, but we're going to get in that
for $10,000.
We're going to get in that shortly.
Okay, all right.
We're going to get in that shortly.
Ahead of myself.
Yeah, he's getting. It's okay. First episode.
I start doing that.
So, how many bondsmen are there in North Carolina?
So in North Carolina, I think the latest statistics were anywhere from 1,500 to 1,700 bondsmen.
Too many.
Yeah, and we have 100 counties in North Carolina. So that's how we look at the state, not in so much city, but county. But that's anywhere from 1,500 to 1,700 at a given time for bondsmen across the state. So
being professional, though, that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's a big problem.
Yeah.
To me, being professional and being a good bondsman, with all these bondsmen out of North Carolina, not everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, we get looked down upon from some law enforcement, not all, but some, because we don't wear a uniform. Well, we can't really wear a uniform and blend with people when we have to go find them.
No, it's against the law for us to even
Yeah, we identify ourselves. We
Yeah.
have a badge and we have, all that. But just in, when we go to bond somebody out, we're 24 hours a day. It's, you're going to wear basically whatever, but we're not in uniform. We're not in a suit. So attorneys kind of look at us like they're not in a suit. We're somewhere in the middle. We have to wear different hats we have to go to court. We have to go hunt people. We have to show up at the jail. So, don't look at them as like that thug. We get paid up front, but we're responsible for a lot more money in the rear.
And Chad said something great about being paid up front, which leads us to our next question: what the purpose is for bondsmen, and we're going to describe how the bail process starts and go into why do we need it. So the purpose for a bondsman, like Chad said previously, is to make sure that person appears in court.
We guarantee the performance of a person to appear in court, like an insurance policy on your vehicle.
So Chad, tell everybody quickly about getting a phone call and how we work here.
So I think we can agree that not everyone should be released from jail. Not everyone. Again, we do our best to figure out who. We don't just get somebody out because they're waiving some money, so that.
And we do not know what color, what nationality. We don't know none of this when we get the phone call. We just hear somebody on the other line.
We get a call, and what I do is I ask a series of questions. What I'm trying to do is establish how tied to the community, because like one of our friend Michelle, she says, you got the circle of love, and she's right. In order to figure it out, if you can be released, is if you have to get your hands back on that person, could you? So you use that circle of love of friends and family to find a person. If you have to, we have to think that way, because there's a lot of money at stake. I mean, in a given year, we're writing $4 or $5 million in premiums to these people that we're giving this money out to. So we have to be able to find them, and we have people all over the country. I mean, I have clients that are in several states over. And again, this is money that comes out of our pockets to go and find them or pay them out. It's not state. We're not giving state money or anything like that.
So why do we need the bail industry?
So again, in our state, I can't speak for others, but why we need it is, well, for the accountability. I think everyone would agree that if, let's say, someone broke into your home and they assaulted, your wife or your husband or whoever, and they stole a bunch of stuff and just took off. Well, later they were caught. They were arrested. And wouldn't you want your day in court with that person to tell, to make things right? It's not fair that they came in and did that to you and your family and took your things. So we're the accountability. They do have the right to make bail, to prepare for their trial. And also we can't, we want to free up jail space, because that does cost taxpayers. It costs them medical, food, housing. So we have to weed out who we can get out. And again, it's not just money, because some people are released on unsecured bonds. There's secured and there's unsecured.
There's more release unsecured than there is secured.
There's a lot more of that because of, let's just be honest. The liberal agenda is wanting everybody out because they believe everyone will return. It's not true. Here we talk to the warrant officers, and they're overworked.
And we're going to have plenty of stories telling you why and these people are telling us why they took off.
Yeah. So once we do get them, we hear the stories from them. That's another part of it, is the ride to the jail.
So speaking of that, which leads us into our next question: Once that person misses court, what happens?
So when they miss court, the judge up there says they called and failed, OFA, issues a bench warrant, and then we get a notice in the mail. It's that lovely orange piece of paper I was talking about earlier. And so from that point, we have 150 days. When we get it, we put it on our board, how much it's for, what county it's for. We cover a few counties, and what the final judgment date is. So it's kind of like we're working against the clock constantly to figure it out. And so we start working on these cases, and we go and get them as needed. Sometimes we can solve it with a phone call. It could be an error on a attorney didn't show up. It
Or
could be
clerk's office.
It could be a clerk's office error.
It happens a lot.
Yeah, it happens. Either way, we're still on the hook until we solve it.
And if we can't solve it, where does that?
So in
Where's
North
that money
Carolina,
go?
if we can't solve this issue by 150 days, the school board attorney wants this money from us. He's fighting for the school board and his own self. He lines his own pockets with a portion of that.
And on that 150th day now, we have to tell everybody, on that 150th day, they don't give us credit. They don't do nothing. You must have them a check. If not,
You get shut off.
you're going to get shut off.
So being shut off means you're that insurance company. So there are several surety companies that bondsmen write through. It gives them ability to write large dollar amounts on huge bonds and stuff, but they get a portion of it. So if you were to get shut off, that means everybody with that insurance company, and there's probably about 80 to 90 bondsmen in just our little area of North Carolina. So everyone with that same insurance company would be shut off until it were resolved. But let's see, what was I saying? So the money that's collected at the end of that 150 days, so that we'll use that 10,000 as an example, we would have to pay $10,000 at the end of 150 to our county, which is New Hanover County, Wilmington. We would write them a check, or whatever county it is where the case resides. So that money is put into the school system of North Carolina, which I think is the best thing that they could do, is to help fund North Carolina education system.
Yeah, because our school system here is not the best in the U.S. So we're like a little under midway. Like in some other states, I know in Colorado they do like the money goes to like rehab centers and stuff for the state to do that. But I know in North Carolina, for 100% of fact, after the school board attorney gets paid, it goes to the jurisdiction of wherever that forfeiture came out of.
So, yeah, I have a statistic sheet of the state broken down to each state and each county and how much each one of them received that year in forfeiture money. And it totals up to, any given year, anywhere from $10 to $14 million. So that's a good chunk of money.
Yeah, but now since bail reform has came into play, that number has came down because there's no secure bonds being given out.
Yeah, so unsecured people are we call it a pinky swear. It's like you promise to show, sure. Yeah, that's not working out so good. There's if you know that no one's going to be looking for you, where's your incentive to actually show? I mean, some people are going to do the right thing. Some people are going to abuse it. People will abuse anything.
They'll leave here because we're so close to South Carolina. Yeah. They'll go down to Myrtle Beach.
Because it's right across the state line. I mean, it's literally an hour away, and they're in another state, and they will not pursue them. We are not bound by jurisdictions. So another useful thing about bondsmen is we can pursue to other states. We don't need a warrant to come into a house as long as it's what we have on our paperwork.
Correct.
So,
and it's a third party. You have to be.
Yeah, you got to be sure they're there. But
But so that gets into where we're trying to get into towards the other part of our episode here is what's the difference between bounty hunting and fugitive recovery in North Carolina? Because you hear dog the bounty hunter all the time. You hear,
Yeah, I remember we met with him, and we said, well, we don't really call it bounty hunting in North Carolina. He was kind of like, really, you don't have bounty hunting there? I'm like, well, it is, but it isn't. It's you have to. Each state has its own kind of rules when it comes to that, and basically, it's fugitive recovery, but you have to be licensed with the same surety company as the person who wrote that bond. So if I'm in Wilmington and Raleigh, let's say, 100, 150 miles, whatever it is, from here, and there's an agent that needs help, then we would need to be under the same insurance for me to help him. And other states, bounty hunting, you can just go up and say, I'm a licensed bounty hunter, what's your bounty? I'll go get them.
yeah, right. And here,
It's the same, but it's a little different.
yeah, here when I started the whole recovery side of things, it was more of a reach out to these insurance companies, other bondsmen and stuff like that, and ask them, hey, do you have any skips? And they would say, yeah, we got some. Like I would go with one of our surety companies, Bankers. They're absolutely awesome, great people, and I'm appointed underneath them, so they could send me out to go do whatever. But we still have to abide by each state laws, and so us going out, getting people, I mean, it gets dangerous. So, have you ever felt like you've been in danger?
Yeah, there's been a couple situations. Yeah.
I know I have.
Yeah. I was at the top of the stairs of a little bedroom here, two different apartments, but they were real close, and a guy shot out the door with a shotgun. He claims later that someone had broken into his house earlier that week. So he was just scared, which, whatever. But I didn't get hurt. Yeah, I've had some other instances, that I can think of.
I can tell you, there's going to be another episode. I don't know which episode we're going to do it yet. It's a really good story because it took us from one side of the United States to the other and coming back, and there was so much mess that happened. But that's the one that kind of scared me when we had to go catch him for a second time. I can't wait for you to hear that one. But that one was kind of scary. I had to. I've had so many scary moments that I'm kind of glad that I don't hunt as much anymore.
You're talking about the California trip?
Yeah. Yeah. So, what, going to go get people, what can we do versus what law enforcement?
Well, like I stated earlier, we have the ability to go in without a warrant as long as it's on our paperwork. Law enforcement, we've been in places, the law enforcement gets there, they wait at the door, we go in. They can't go.
But sometimes some jurisdictions that I've been into, the cops won't even help.
Yeah. It all depends, how much they'll get involved. And these days, it seems like less and less they want to do anything. I mean, we got a big problem with the law enforcement's hands being tied. I mean, you just open the door for bigger problems.
More crimes being committed. There's no consequences for your actions.
Right.
None. And not every state likes bounty hunters or fugitive recovery agents or bondsmen. None of them. There's actually some states in the U.S. that we cannot hunt in.
We're not supposed to go into.
We're not supposed to go into. Wisconsin's one of them. Illinois.
Kentucky.
That's three. Oregon.
Yeah.
Oregon, we're not supposed to go into Oregon. And it's somewhere up north. I wanted to say.
Did you say Illinois?
I said Illinois. There's another one. But yeah, we're not supposed to go into these states. And if somebody does go in there, you have to be creative. Like we had one girl, she was a sovereign citizen. And
oh, yes.
God, that was the worst. And the U.S. Marshals, thank God for them, man. They're awesome.
Yeah, we were able to do some collaborating work with them and get her out of Chicago.
Yeah, she was on the south side, kind of the southwest side of Chicago. What was that? Inglewood? I think it was Inglewood.
She was up to no good. That's
God,
for sure.
man, she was a sex trafficker too. Remember?
Yeah,
That's what she was convicted of, and we got her on a probation violation. And she talked a good game, and then when she got out, she just all of a sudden switched on us and said that I'm a sovereign citizen. I don't have to go to court, and vanished.
Yeah, and like you remember the guy that sent the paperwork, and it was all marked in red blood.
Oh yeah,
thumbprint.
that was some of the weirdest.
Yeah, and like he tried to pay us with a check that had the blood print on it.
Yeah.
And we took it to the bank, and they were like, "What is this?"
Yeah, I know,
it wasn't
right?
real. I mean, everything looked official.
So the end of the bond process, after we got all these people back,
Yeah.
say if it's our bond and we get them back, what do we have to do then?
So
Because
what-
it's not over with.
Yeah, it's not over. I mean, we've been staying up for a couple of days, and some of these situations, driving all over the place or flying, and we're really tired. But we get back to the county. So by state law, you can surrender to any sheriff in the state.
Well,
You're supposed to be able to. Well, we bring them back, take them to the jail, and we have to fill out a lot of paperwork, what happened, how we did the arrest, and, if they're medicated or in the right state of mind. Some cases they aren't. If not, they got to go get medical treatment before they'll administer, like let them into the jail. And once we get all that, I mean, and the officer signs off on our paperwork, then we're finally we're done.
but then we got to file paperwork.
Yeah, we got to file the paperwork
With the clerk.
We got to give the clerk, we got to give the DA, we got to give the school board attorney, and a copy for our insurance company. 4 copies. Everybody gets one to make sure that that everyone knows that we're off of it, and then it has to be approved. Sometimes it gets turned down by the school board attorney, and they want to go to court and fight over it.
Just because of a box ain't marked right.
Technicalities. I mean, yeah, they can
get you for anything.
I mean, people just don't know how, easy they can try to squeeze money out of us to, if we don't follow every little thing. So it's not as easy as you think.
No, and so everything that we've explained, there's a lot into it. There's a lot that went into it to do this job, and it's not as easy as everybody thinks it is. Oh, we'll just go get them out of jail, and bada bing, bada boom, you're done. No, you got to keep up with it because cases last 2-3 years, and especially DUIs. DUIs in the state of North Carolina can
2
last
years.
about 2 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, if we get a forfeiture in the mail from 2 years ago, we go, damn, who the hell was that?
I mean, a lot can happen to people in 2 years. I mean, they move different places. I mean,
And they don't tell us because they're supposed
I had
to.
one guy that missed court. It was a year later. I called the co-signer and I said, "What's going on with Mr. Johnson?" He said, "Didn't you hear?" I'm like, "Well, I don't have Mr. Johnson on my radar, but what happened?" He died in a Taco Bell bathroom.
On a heroin overdose?
Some kind of overdose in a bathroom at a Taco Bell in Fayetteville, which is an hour and a half from us. And I'm like, no, I did not hear that, but thanks. So I have, we have to find the county in which the person deceased in, died in, and find a death certificate and submit that.
Yeah, it's not fun. But once it's over with, it's over with. So
Yeah. So what I always say on our board is, mark one out, move on to the next problem.
Yeah,
Because
what's the
that's
next
what it
issue?
is.
So with all that being said, we hope you guys have a more clear idea how it works, and I'm sure we're going to be explaining more in other episodes to come because we got, we got so many captures. We got Michigan, we got California, we've got Texas, we've got Florida. I mean, we've got, you name it, South Carolina for sure, Tennessee, Georgia. I mean, they're all over the place. And we're going to tell you, each episode is going to have every story. So while we were doing all these bounty hunting or recovery work, we met a lot of people, networked with a lot of people.
Yeah, so that's what we did early on when Rob teamed up with me and our other guys that went with us. We started going to these national events, meeting
PBUS. And we met this sweetest woman from New York, from Brooklyn. Oh, no, she's from Queens.
Yeah, is it Queens?
It's one or two.
All right.
Anyway, she's a straight up tough New Yorker.
Yeah.
We love her half to death. Michelle, I know you're going to be watching this. We love you. So, yeah, we met her at PBUS, which is it's another good organization that helps fight bail reform and educate also.
Yeah.
We've got the American Bail Coalition, and then
her group, the NABA.
Yeah. So Michelle started a group called National Association for Bail Agents. Great organizations, and they're all fighting for the same thing, and it's to educate and tell people, why we need bail. And that's a big reason why Chad started Off the Hook podcast. And I'm so grateful that he's done it, because it educates the community, because I couldn't tell you how many times I've been out and talked to people and they're like, "Oh, we didn't know that."
We didn't know that. We didn't know that that's where the money went. We didn't know that's what you did, or it's a lot more to it. So, educate yourself, listen to some podcasts, and just learn what it is that actually goes into this, because without it all fits together. I mean, it's unfortunate that we have to have bail agents. That's fine. I'll say it. But it is a necessary thing that we have to have. So,
look, there could be worse things we could be just talking about. But we're here, and we're going to share all of our experiences with you and you guys, and tell you all these stories. And we're going to joke, laugh, put you on the edge of your seat. Probably, especially doing some gut laughing, from up in here. But stay tuned. We are also, like I said, we're also going to have video of our episodes on our YouTube channel. We will get that to you. And hell, until next time, I think the next episode we're going to actually do a story.
We're going to do a story.
We got a story next couple episodes coming up.
And we want to hear from you guys and some of the comments, what you think, what you'd like to know or to hear us talk about. So, we're looking forward to that.
And what we're going to have, eventually we'll have people call in, ask questions, because I'm sure there's people that, if you're not in this business, and say if you're an accountant, and you don't know this business,
right,
and you're going to have some questions, and it could persuade you which way you want to vote, or where you want to donate your money to, or how you want to, be active in your school board, your local school board. So all this, is educational, and it's going to be fun. So I'm Rob.
I'm Chad.
And I'm so glad you guys are listening to us. Stay tuned. We got more coming for you.
You've been listening to Off the Hook with Chad and Rob. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. And be sure to follow us for notifications for another exciting episode. But in the meantime, you can go to our website at www.offthehookbail.com to see more. So until next time, stay out of trouble, or it'll be you that needs to get off the hook. See you soon.